Our tendency as human beings to catastrophize actually comes from a really great ability that we have, which is the capacity to simulate things which aren't happening right now in this moment. That's the thing that helps us plan, getting to places that we're not at right now. Just even walking somewhere, you need to be able to simulate roughly where you're going, roughly how you might get there. So imagination is really useful in that way, and it helps us to achieve things. Now, of course, imagination alone is not catastrophizing. Catastrophizing happens when we add another essential ingredient, which is essentially our survival mechanism, our desire to be safe and to be well. We tend towards something that's called a false positive, which is it's generally safer to see something as dangerous, but it turns out not to be dangerous, than to see it as safe, but it actually turns out to be a threat. So when you combine that safety mechanism and that false positive mechanism with imagination, our capacity to simulate, you can start to see the kind of difficulties that can emerge. If thousands of years ago Uncle Bob hears a rustle in the bushes behind him, that might be nothing at all, or it might be a wild beast that's going to eat Uncle Bob. If Uncle Bob assumes it's nothing at all, he may well be right most of the time, but he only needs to be wrong once in order not to be around anymore to tell the story. Whereas, if his imagination tells him, well, it might be a wild beast, he catastrophizes in a sense, and he turns around and it's not a wild beast, it's generally not too much of a problem. And that extra adrenaline can probably be spent by doing active things, which most people have done throughout history. So we've developed, over time, this capacity to catastrophize in a way. Now, something that you can do to help harness those abilities in a useful way has two parts to it. One is practicing grounding your attention in the here and the now. That bit of mindful presence which acts to help reset your system so that you don't believe the things you're simulating too much. You ground yourself in the here and the now, and you hopefully then just use imagination as a helpful tool to help navigate around what's actually happening, rather than getting lost too much in the catastrophizing and the thoughts themselves. And then the other thing you can do, if you can't beat it, join it, is use your capacity to imagine, but in a positive way, thinking of how you want to feel, what you want to achieve, or at least what are some of the ways you can overcome challenges that are there.